And Dr. Michael Hudson is with us. His website, michael-hudson.com. He's president of the Institute for the Study of Long-Term Economic Trends, a Wall Street financial analyst, distinguished research professor of economics at the University of Missouri, Kansas City, and author of the book Super Imperialism, The Economic Strategy of American Empire, and The Myth of Aid. As well as was the economic advisor to Dennis Kucinich during the presidential campaign. Dr. Michael Hudson, welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much, Thom.
Great to have you with us. I saw you referenced in Chris Hedges' piece. I'm sure you're familiar with this, that was on Truthdig and Common Dreams and whatnot.
Yes.
The picture he's painting is very, very grim. We were just a few moments ago on this show playing a transcript of the interrogation by Alan Grayson of Elizabeth Coleman, the Inspector General of the Federal Reserve, Alan Grayson, the Democratic congressman, in which he asks her, do you know who got the $1 trillion the Fed has passed out since the last few months of the Bush administration? She said no. He said, do you know who is getting or where have gone the 2 and change trillion that's showing on the Fed's balance sheet? She says no. He says, do you know anything with regard to the $9 trillion that has been generated by the Fed over the last 9 months in terms of loans and guarantees in addition to outright grants? And she said no. I mean, it was just shocking. Where are we at right now? How did we get here, and where are we going?
Well, it looks like the government is going to many of the old people's homes and trying to find people with Alzheimer's disease to appoint the key public relations positions so that they can all say they don't remember a thing. That's what it looks like.
I'm willing to believe, actually, Elizabeth Coleman, that she doesn't know, even though she's the Inspector General. But the question in my mind is this information being kept from her, as it's being kept from all of us? You'll recall there was a lawsuit, a FOIA filing.
First of all, it's not $1 trillion. It's altogether $9 trillion,
right,
according to Bloomberg.
Right.
And the money takes the form of cash for trash trades. The Federal Reserve has given these $2 trillion alone, just from the Fed, over the last year or so, to companies to buy out their junk mortgages and junk loans and derivatives trades at face value for securities that are absolutely worthless. We know that when the Fed makes a swap, it has something in its department. If it doesn't have these, then there's been a $10 trillion embezzlement, and the Fed staff should immediately be placed under arrest, which obviously they're not going to do. So this lady is simply not telling the truth. It is inconceivable that in a swap, the Fed doesn't know what it's getting in the swap. It's not getting an envelope with just a blank inside.
So you don't think that they're keeping it from their own Inspector General?
Of course they're keeping it, and they're keeping it from them by having somebody who is not privy to opening up the envelopes. The
Right.
government, just like a bank examiner can go into a bank and look at every record for the swap, the government can go into the Fed and say, okay, you've made you've added $2 trillion onto your books by creating deposits for the banks that have given you securities as collateral. You've made a swap. Where are these securities you've got? We want to know there's something there so that you're not operating a Madoff-type Ponzi scheme.
Right.
And the Fed will have to show them what it has in its portfolio. This is how any bank and any company works.
Right, except that the Fed's refusing to do that.
Yes, it's stonewalling, obviously.
Why?
Because it doesn't want to admit that this is just a giveaway.
Oh, okay. But it being just a giveaway has implications. What, in your opinion, Michael Hudson, are the implications for our economy? What do you see on the horizon?
The first implication is that the federal debt is now $15 trillion. A year ago, it was $5 trillion. The federal debt has tripled in 1 year. Now, $5.2 trillion of that is taking the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac onto the books. This means that of the added $10 trillion, it paying at 3% interest, it's going to have to pay, you can figure it out, about $3 trillion a year, in $300 billion a year in extra taxes. It means the taxes are going to have to go up very much on the middle class in order for equilibrium to take place, the equilibrium that the Chicago School talks about.
Right.
Middle class living standards will have to fall by 20%. Otherwise, there won't be equilibrium, and otherwise the financial sector will not be able to get rich at the compound rate of interest that it's based all of its planning on.
Now, one option that has been suggested is to do what Abraham Lincoln did, which is to have the Treasury issue currency rather than the Fed, and issue it, instead of issuing it at interest, simply issue it.
And there's no reason at all why this could not be done. As a matter of fact, Stephen Zarlenga at the American Monetary Institute
He's been on this show.
Plan. He's on the show today?
No, he's been on this show before.
Yeah.
I know him. Yeah.
He has drafted a plan, and I've worked with him on it for Dennis Kucinich. There's no reason at all why the government couldn't do just what a commercial bank does. They both create credit out of what people say thin air, but it's really out of keystrokes on a computer keyboard. So in any case, it's freely created electronic credit. So the fact is, there really is a free lunch, contrary to what Milton Friedman said.
Well, and the government of North Dakota has been proving this since what, 1916, when they chartered the Bank of North Dakota.
That's right, and that's how they've been financing their own budget deficit. And this is going to be increasingly important because a lot of states right now are broke and going towards the condition California's in.
Right.
For one thing, they haven't funded their pension plans, and they're moving into harsher and harsher terms. And the banks and real estate interests are pressuring them to cut the real estate tax even more to free up more income to be paid to the banks as mortgage interest.